cast those things aside, but serve ye the Lord. Verse 15, it says, but if it is unpleasing in your sight to serve the Lord, then choose for yourself this day whom ye shall serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Just for a minute, if you would allow me to infringe on your Tuesday and then let you know that the word that Joshua said had to be resounding not only for him, but it had to be my testimony in text before me, speaking on behalf of me, that as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Pause parenthetically. Many times we hear it, we end up missing it because the evidence that you serve him is really absent in picture form, because you look at people who testify of his goodness, but go home and be consumed in the depressiveness of that God has not been so good. I'm not talking to people who are displaced in their mind. I'm talking to people who've been refined in the spirit, who understand sometimes God gives. And Job said the rest of the time he's taking. So whether he's giving or he's taking, all I'm doing is praising. And you got to move yourself to the element of it doesn't matter what anybody else does around me. It doesn't matter what the circumstance or the situation is that I see in front of me. But everything that God determined for me was to come out of it with my hands lifted, Moses, and to tell the people that God had behind me, that he would prepare the way and part the Red Sea that was in front of me. You got to know that God is forever looking for you. That's why he wants you to worship and serve him in your truth. That there's some places where I can't see it, so I just submit it. God, I can't see it. Help me and my vision. And I know many times what he'll do is he'll lead you on a path where you're able to help somebody else maintain their solidity in just finding him. He'll be able to reveal it to you. That every time a storm arose, every time a Red Sea faced you, every time you had the Egyptians behind you, every time you had people looking at you, depending on you, every time you were called to build, every time you were called to heal, every Egypt that you're called to work at, just I want you to know one thing. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Now, many of you are like me. You're saying to yourself, Jay, I don't know how to identify with the text, not because I can't testify that he's my God, but I can't testify that I have a house. Let me tell you on the day, you got to speak wind over your losing situation, that I may not have it right now, but I believe God in this season to be granting home ownership. I believe him to not to just be letting you rent it and just live in it and just pay people, the landlords of it, and just be a tenant all of your life. But as for me, he said, me and my house, when you dedicate yourself to service, catch it? Every room you enter is not yours, but it belongs to the one that you serve. That's what Joshua said. Joshua said, I want to be proud of it, but I can't. Joshua said, we just got down into Jericho after crossing and screaming, after holding it and containing it. After 7 days of walking around it, looking at it, we finally broke through the wall of it. Talking about the city walls of Jericho, the promised land that they were meant to go into, but was stalled them because they had to walk around in the wilderness 40 years. I'm talking to somebody on the break of 40. I don't know if that's age. I don't know if that's days. I don't know if you've been waiting. I don't know if that's years. But for somebody, this is your break into your 40. Once you complete, and God says, I want you to start walking around it. You got to know that God has already surpassed it, that he'll already deliver it, that you have already procured it in the background, but you just needed to show up and proclaim to people who did not believe it, who were absent of faith in it, who were doubting that God could still do it, that he'll do it in the next 10 days for the entire quarter. For the entire quarter, I know that it's coming. For the entire quarter, I know that he's able. For the entire quarter, I know it's seems incapable. Speaking and prophesying stuff that is, Joshua said, let me tell you, let me set substance for you. Let me be evidence where somebody brought the indictment and tried to imprison you to that place of being doubted, of being undiscerned and undetermined. He says, this is what I want you to know. As for me and my house. I ain't got one right now. I'm in a hotel. It's nice here, but this ain't the house. And I don't know where you're staying at. I don't know what you look at. I don't know where you've been or how you've been going through it. But can I tell you, Joshua sets preset for what your future is going to be. Not just you, but he said, as for me and my house. And it don't matter if you're renting the apartment. I know that you have to speak over it before you see it, that as for me and the house. That means I can't just be renting it, calling it mine, because that's not the truth. But God lives there. He lives not in dishonesty, but I had to speak over me that one day it'll be as for me and my house, as for me and mine. That is God allowing it to happen. That is God procuring it for you. That is God ordaining it from the foundations of way back when, so that when you come to tomorrow, you can tell people who doubted you that God came through for me again. He said, as for me and my house. Jeremiah's over there sleeping, but as for me and my house, there's folk across the room from us, but as for me and my house, Joshua said, I may not have it. We may have just broken down the walls of Jericho to get into it. There may be other people still living in it, but as for me and my house, you got to begin to speak that me and my house gonna prosper. That means that every child that's under my roof is gonna thrive, survive, and succeed. That means all of my kids will know me. If every single bill that I have is already paid for, ain't nothing getting cut off. As for me and my house, that's what he said. As for me and my house, here's what we gonna do. We gonna service the Lord. Service is not you waiting for him to deliver it. It's you with a towel over your arm ready to serve it. And for somebody, you ought to say, I'm just thankful, God, that I have the ability to be a servant. I'm thankful that I'm able to be a gatekeeper at the door of glory, than to dwell in the foolish tents of men who didn't know him. That I'm just thankful to be in the service and thankful to be in the room. I'm thankful God appointed me, and I'm thankful he still has his grace on me. I'm thankful today that even though I don't have it, that I can speak to it to be, because God determined for me, I'll just be a servant who would live in the house. He says, I'm in the house, so I have to commit it, and I'm done. I promise I'm done. I'm in the house, but I have to commit it because I want everything under my roof to prosper and to excel. But if you plan to prosper and excel, you got to dedicate it early in the morning, late at night. You got to dedicate it in the afternoon. You got to dedicate it when you're in church, when you're in the closet, in the shower, driving down the road. So all day I am as for me and my house. We pray into ourselves, as for me and my house. Ain't no form of sickness gonna penetrate it. Ain't no form of manipulation gonna make me cheat in it. Ain't no form of lying gonna make me turn against it. Ain't no rumor spreading up that would make us walk away from it. As for me and my house, and speak that over the kids, speak that over the spouse, speak that over the car, speak that over the income and the outgo. As for me and mine, we submitted. Maybe I ain't nothing but a servant. So I started my day off as Joshua did. I'm tearing down walls, but I'm building up my praise. That at the end of the day, I may not have the wall, but I've got the one who decided to risk it all for me. That's who I have. That's who I lift up at the end of the day. I may not have it. I may not have it all in the bank. It may not be in my name. It may not have me on the title of it or the deed to it. But as for me and my house, we gonna serve him because he was put behind. That's what somebody said. They tore down the wall of Jericho, but he was put behind the wall. He was put behind the wall and doubted that man so bad. They said he'd never come up. But for somebody, I came to tell you on the day, as for me and my house. And that's what God said. Everything that you bury, as for me and my tomb, we gonna rise up from here. As for me and my cross, we gonna come down from here. As for me and my determination. That they may have not believed it, they may have doubted it, they may have said that it was not going to be. But Jesus said, listen, this is what I want you to know. You ain't got to believe me. You ain't got to trust me. You ain't even got to pray to me nor repent for your sins on me. You ain't got to accept the blood. But as for me and the children who are with me, me and my house, they said after 3 days, I was going to get up. And I just need to tell you on today, there ain't a few more days left in the month. But he told me to tell somebody in the room on the day, if he did it for Jesus in 3 days, what can he do for you over the next 2? You got to know that God will still do it. That's all I came to tell somebody today. I ain't came to hold y'all. I ain't trying to make y'all preach. I ain't trying to make nobody shout. All I came to tell somebody, you better speak over your house, me and